All right, good morning, good morning, good morning. Welcome to Philly Fridays. This is Colin Nathan Aleem, the real estate boy. And in this live stream, what we talk about is we're talking about major events that happen in the week in Philadelphia's real estate market. So what we have this week is we have an article in the Philadelphia Inquirer, and this is entitled Philly Homeowners Who Regularly Get Harassed to Sell Can Join a City's Do Not Solicit List. So in Philadelphia, we have a lot of gentrification going on. So we have a lot of areas that used to be blighted or just bad areas, and you got a bunch of people, investors coming in, and they're looking to buy the homes up. And what happens is that usually it's off market. All right, I'm just giving you guys a little pretext of what's going on here. So what happens is that you have these people called wholesalers. What wholesalers do is they'll contact a homeowner. So they'll contact a homeowner and then they'll say, okay, we'll buy your house for cash. Now, what happens is that they say, well, don't get a realtor because the realtor is going to charge you commissions. So don't do that. What I can do is I can sell you what they're selling is comfort and ease. So they're like, okay, there won't be no inspections, nobody will come through your house. We're just going to give you cash to roll. That's it. So that's what a homeowner does. So most people will say, well, why would anybody do that? Why wouldn't somebody just contact a realtor and have a realtor sell their home? Well, this section of the housing market is probably like 1%. The other 99% of the folks, what they'll do is they'll contact a realtor, and a realtor will put their house on the market, and they'll get the most money for their house. But I always say it like this. You can do two things. You can either sell for the most money possible, or you can sell very quick, either or. Now, if you have a wholesaler and a real estate agent, 99 times out of 100, if you put that house with a realtor, it's going to sell for a higher dollar amount. Why? Because the realtor is going to come through and the realtor is going to do his own inspection and say, hey, if you just fix this, fix this, fix this, or just paint this, it's going to go for a lot more. So, number one, he's going to give you recommendations on what you can do in order to improve your home's value. That's the first thing. Number two, and which is probably the most important, is he's going to market your home properly. So he's going to market, and I'm going to sum this up because I'm going to talk about this all day, but I'm going to sum this up here. Is when you're selling your house, you're either selling it to a homeowner or you're selling it to an investor. If you sell it to an investor, 9 times out of 10, you're going to get 70 cents on a dollar. Versus if you sell it to a homeowner, you're going to get all of it. Okay. You'll get 100 cents on a dollar, if you want to say. And the reason is because a lot of time homeowners have loans. So real estate, and this is what makes real estate so powerful. Real estate is one of the only investments where you pay for part of it and get the whole thing. Okay? You pay for part of it and get the whole thing. How is that? By getting a loan, by leverage. So if a house costs, sorry, my tongue, something's wrong. The back of my throat is itching. If you if you have a house that's $100,000, the closing cost is probably going to be around $9,000. So this is all you're paying. You're paying around 8-9% to get 100% control of the property. Okay. So, and real estate is really, and that's what makes real estate so dynamic. So, what we have here is that with wholesalers are going, and why would a person go with a wholesaler? A person would go with a wholesaler maybe because they're in a situation where they need cash like next week. If they need cash next week, if they go through a realtor, they can still do it. they can still, if they need to sell in a week, then they can still try to go through a realtor. And then what the realtor will do is they'll put their house on the market and say, hey, we got to sell in a week. Why is selling with a realtor more profitable than a wholesaler? Like I said, 99.5 times out of 10, out of 100. Because the realtor is going to market to a bigger pool of people, and they're going to market to homeowners versus wholesalers. Wholesalers, for the most part, are going to market to investors. So when you have investors have to make money on the deal. That's the reason for them investing. Now, I'm saying it like this. I'm not saying there's not a place for wholesalers, because there definitely is. I buy properties from wholesalers. There's definitely a place for them. But if a homeowner wants to sell their property for the most money possible, they need to sell it with a realtor. They need to sell it with a realtor. The realtor's pool is bigger. The realtor is going to be advertising it to homeowners, and he's going to be advertising it to investors also. So his pool's bigger. Where if you have a wholesaler, he just has these people on his buyer's list, and he sent it out to his buyer's list. What's more, the public, all the public, because when you sell it with a realtor, he's going to put it on the MLS, and then the MLS is going to blast out to your Zillow, your Realtor.coms, your Redfin. Okay, he's going to blast it all out. But with a wholesaler, he has these people who he's hooked up with, these buyers, and he has his buyers list, and he's going to get this out to his buyers list. Okay, so just before I get into this, and somebody's lost, like, well, why would they do that? Well, I'm just giving you guys some background as far as what's the difference, the difference between a wholesaler and a realtor. I'll give you one example. I just did this. Okay, there was a guy that I knew. I'm giving you an example here. Okay, there was a guy that I knew who was selling his home, and he wanted to sell his home, and a wholesaler got him. So a wholesaler came in and was like, hey, I'll give you, and I'm using different numbers to protect the innocent, but the wholesaler came in and he was like, man, I'll give you $100,000 for that house. And the guy said, oh, okay. So as he was doing it, as he verbally agreed to it, or he told me that he verbally agreed to it, I'm not sure. Maybe they were still working out the details. But I came to him and I said, hey, listen, I can sell your house for more than that. Listen, give me a week. Give me 1 week and let me put your house on the market. Let me do 1 week, put your house on the market, and we'll do 2 open houses, Saturday and Sunday. We'll do 2 open houses, and if it sells for more than what you would have got from the wholesaler, roll with me. But if it doesn't, even if it's tied, go with the wholesaler. Now, mind you, why don't people want to use realtors sometimes? Does anybody know in the comments out there? Why do some people not want to use realtors? They don't want to use them because of the cost. Realtors cost. Realtors cost money. Being a real estate agent is a professional. So just like you go to the doctors, and just like you go to your CPA, they don't work for free. Realtors don't work for free either. Realtors deal with a whole lot. You got to have a special skill set. And even though it doesn't seem like sometimes, but the better realtors, you have to have a special skill set, and it takes work. It takes grind. Realtors are out there grinding. And the thing about being a realtor is that, yeah, you don't have to punch a clock, but you're never off. You're never off as a realtor. Even when you're sleeping, somebody calls and you jumping up. Okay. So anyway, back to my story. So what happened is that I marketed his house for a week and we did the open houses and we wind up getting $30,000 more than what the wholesaler was going to give me. $30,000 more. $30,000 more. So this and it's how it is. It's how it is. So anyway, just want to let you guys know a background as far as what wholesalers are versus, and you have some good wholesalers out there. You have some good wholesalers out there. But what happens with a lot of folks who sell their homes to home wholesalers is that they don't know the worth of their property. Some of them don't know the worth of their property. Let me say it like that. Some of them don't know the worth of their property. Some need a wholesaler because they need to get this property off their hands today. And also, in some of these neighborhoods, the way that the realtors pay is structured because a realtor gets a percentage of what the home sells for. So in some of these lower income areas, realtors may not necessarily focus. And the reason is because as a realtor, whether it's a $20,000 home or it's $1 million home, it's the same work. It's the same work. So if you're going to focus on you only have 24 hours. So if you have a $20,000 property and a $100,000 property or $1 million property, of course, you're going to go to the $1 million property, not the 100,000. So that's a problem also because realtors aren't in these neighborhoods, these blighted neighborhoods, advertising like they're advertising in the suburbs. And I just gave you the reason why. So anyway, let's get to the article and I'll tell you my reaction. So it says Philly homeowners who regularly get harassed to sell can join the city's Do Not Solicit List. All right. It says people and entities who continue to solicit homeowners after they say they don't want to sell face fines up to $2,000 and loss of license. All right, $2,000 when you're in real estate, $2,000 isn't a lot of money at all. So what they're saying here is everybody knows about the do not call list. So once you jump on a do not call list, the telemarketers should not call you. So what Philly is doing is that they're saying that there's a do not solicit list that Philly homeowners can jump on. So these wholesalers or people or entities don't continue to badger them. All right. So this is what they do in articles is that they take a person, they personalize the article. All right. I think this is like a tactic, some tactic to pull people's heartstrings. All right. So it says this lady, Tracy Lewis, has stopped opening the text messages she received just about every day. They're all variations of the same thing. Have you considered receiving a quote for your home? Can we give you a call about your property? I need to acquire a few homes in Philadelphia this month. So what this is saying is that this homeowner in West Philly, Tracy, seems like she's getting bombarded by wholesalers. She's getting bombarded by people who are saying, hey, do you want to sell your home? Do you want to sell your home? Do you want to sell your home? Okay. It says, Tracy said, now that I'm looking, these are main texts in my phone. She's a homeowner. She's in Kingsesson. She's in her mid 30s and she's lived her whole life at this property. All right. And she's saying this is nonstop. So she's getting texts. In the next paragraph, it says, it's not just texts from Ronnie, Bobby, and Ricky, but others. All right. Lewis and her neighbors get calls all the time, day and night, postcards, letters stuck in the railing, slipped in the mailbox and through front doors. But she loves her row house and she is not selling. So when Lewis heard this month that the city had rolled out a digital do not solicit list for fed up homeowners, she added her name immediately. Okay. So this homeowner, she's in her mid 50s. She's lived in this row house all of her life. And she seems to be, I'm going to say it like this, not disrespecting her, collateral damage. All right. What does that mean? That means that now in King Session, of course, in Philadelphia, West Philly is a hot area, um, very hot area, and there are a lot of blotted properties in this area. So what happens is that these investors or wholesalers, because now wholesalers are becoming too expensive. So what investors will do is they're prospecting or marketing by themselves. They're going right to the consumer. Because if you go to, let me back up for a minute. If you go to a wholesaler, what happens is that if you tell a wholesaler, okay, I'll sell my property for 50,000, what they'll do is they'll put their middleman money on top of it. So they may go out to investors and say, I got this property for 60,000. So they'll go to their investors, say, hey, I got this property for 60,000. The investor will pay them 60,000, or they'll purchase the property for 60,000. The middleman, which is the wholesaler, will take 10,000, and then the other 50,000 will go to the homeowner. So this is a very, very lucrative business. This is a way for people to get into real estate without any money. So of course, there's a low barrier of entry. So you have a lot of people that's coming into this market because they want to get into real estate, and it is fast money. So what's happening here is that these postcards, and she's kind of in the way, meaning that it's her house, and if she doesn't want to be solicited, it's her house. Who wants to be solicited all the time? Who wants people calling them all the time? Nobody. I don't know anybody that wants people calling them all the time, over and over and over and over. And I have investment properties, and I have people call me, and I also have I get people sending me letters also, but I don't live in some of those neighborhoods. So she's in a very hot neighborhood. So she's going to receive this bombardment. So let's go on with the article. It says homeowners throughout the city and the region have been harassed to sell their homes for years. That harassment has picked up in the last few years as property values have soared. The supply of homes for sale has reached record lows, and historically neglected neighborhoods in Philadelphia have seen more real estate activity. In the city, many of these harassed homeowners are Black residents who are cheated out of the increased value of their properties with low ball offers. Okay, I got to stop here. I don't think this is correct. When you say cheated, okay? When you say cheated, I have a hard time with that. Because what do you need for gentrification to happen? You need somebody to sell. And there's no crime going on. No one's sticking a gun to these people's heads and saying, hey, you better. But you know what? Before I go on there, I need y'all to give me some likes. Give me some likes for me to go on with this. Give me some likes so this can reach out to other people. So if you're on TikTok, just press the screen. Just press the screen a couple times for me to get these likes up so this can go out to more people. And also, if you're on YouTube or on Facebook, hit the like button for me or hit the thumbs up button for me. All right. So again, I don't think nobody likes. That's funny. But you know what? I'm gonna like my own stuff. Oh, I can't do it like that. All right, I can't touch it. But in any case, that was funny. So I don't think these people are being cheated, meaning that nobody is putting a gun to their head and telling them to sell. They're selling for a reason. Nobody likes us, but in order for you to have gentrification, somebody has to sell. Somebody has to sell. So you have the right with your property to sell or not to sell. And if you're selling, this is on you. Why are we blaming, and this is one of the things that I want to kind of get into, why are we blaming the developers? They're buying something that somebody's selling. So what we really should be doing is if we want to stop gentrification, then we need to educate the folks who have the properties because they're the ones that's selling. They're the ones that's selling. So we should educate them in getting a loan. Okay, they're historical Black neighborhoods and we need to protect them. Yes, exactly. But how do we protect them? We protect them with education. We protect them with education. For those of you who don't know, I'm on TikTok too. So the brother here is saying that there are historical Black neighborhoods and we need to protect them. Yes, we need to protect them with education, but they have the right to sell. If they want to sell their properties, who am I to stop them? And you have the choice to sell who you want to. Now, how can they protect themselves? What they would do is they can get a home equity loan. They can get a home equity loan and they can get the equity out of their home and fix the home up if it needs repairs. And they can also take that money because somebody may say, well, they can't pay the taxes. You can take that money and you can pay the taxes with that money also. So there's a lot of things that you can do, but I just wanted to make that one point as far as gentrification. Yeah, gentrification, but somebody has to sell. And I can't tell a person, hey, don't sell. But what I can do is as a realtor, I can get you the most money for your property. As a realtor, I can get you the most money for your property. Anyway, let's continue with the article. It says in mid-March, Philadelphia will begin. What are we in? We're in April now. All right, so this should be already up and running. Gentrification and gerrymandering, these are blatantly obvious. There definitely are practices, but in gentrification, my point is in gentrification, somebody has to sell. Nobody's forcing these people to sell, and we should be fixing up the blighted properties ourselves. Okay, so let me go on with the article because I only got an hour here. It says in mid-March, Philadelphia began allowing homeowners to go online to add themselves to a list of property owners who aren't supposed to be contacted about selling. City officials hope the list can help chip away at the radical wealth or the racial wealth, not a radical racial, the racial wealth gap by protecting Black and brown homeowners in particular from scams that prevent them from building and passing on wealth through their homes. Scams? They're going she's in here, she's calling it's as if she's calling wholesaling a scam. Ugh, that's tough. That's tough. I'm not going to call it a scam. They're getting what they want for the property. I'm not heavily Black, so I can't even find Black. I don't know what he's saying there. Black people are there anymore. Okay, gotcha. In this article, they're calling it a scam. I'm not going to call it a scam. They're giving a person a number. The person is accepting the number. So they may not be telling the whole story, but I definitely wouldn't call it a scam. All right. It says officials and advocates believe the city is the first to compile such a list. Advocates in such places such as Baltimore and Pittsburgh have contacted counterparts in Philadelphia in hopes of starting something similar. So they think, all right, so the city of Philadelphia, they think by putting these people who are being contacted on this list that they're protecting Black and brown homeowners. Negative. They're not protecting Black and brown homeowners. If you wanted to protect Black and brown homeowners, then you would be educating them on if they do want to sell. Boom. I'm about to give it to you here. If they want to protect Black and brown homeowners, what they would do is number one, start with education, and educating them to always contact a realtor. Contact a realtor. Why? So a realtor can sell your home if you do want to sell. Because these people have to want to sell. Nobody's pressuring them, nobody's pushing them out the house. They have a motivation, they want to sell. So educate them on contacting a realtor to help them sell them their house. Okay, I'm gonna keep going on because I can talk about this for days. It says the Do Not Solicit List is part of a series of homeowner protections the city enacted in February of 2021 with the input from advocates. Provisions in the law are meant to shield homeowners from aggressive tactics by real estate intermediates known as wholesalers. We just talked about wholesalers for like the last half an hour, who sell agreements of sales that they get homeowners to sign. Get homeowners to sign like they're not signing with their free will. The law also requires wholesalers to be licensed and to inform homeowners of their rights and options. This is correct. This is correct. So it says sales agreements that homeowners sign aren't valid if the person who got them to sign didn't follow the practices. The protections offered, the protections offer a remedy for folks who feel like they were swindled into a deal they didn't feel like is in their best interest. And this was said by Kia Gee, who's the executive director of the Philadelphia Commission of Human Relations, which is enforcing the Do Not Solicit List. Okay, what are they talking about here? What they're talking about is in February of 2021, before this, wholesalers were not regulated. So anybody could be a wholesaler. But now what's happening is that they're making wholesalers get licensed. I don't know what the license procedure is. I know they got to pay some money, but I'm not familiar because I'm an agent. So we don't have to do that. So I'm not familiar what they have to do in particular. But what's happening is that title companies, and for those of you who don't know, without getting into the weeds, when you buy a home, the buyer gets title insurance. So the title company really acts like the quarterback in the whole transaction. So the way they enforce this is that if there is a wholesaler, because wholesalers have to put their fees on what's called the HUD or the ALTA, they have to put their fees on there. So if a title company sees that this is a wholesaler, then what they'll do is they'll make sure that wholesaler has a license. To me, I just feel like it's just a way for the city to kind of get some more money out of real estate, but that's just my own opinion. All right, so it says with the list, people who are soliciting for homes can't claim ignorance that they didn't know the homeowner didn't want to be contacted, she said. Even those homeowners who aren't protective and don't add themselves to the list have to be left alone if they tell a solicitor they don't want to sell, he said. If messages to sell continue, owners should try to get information from the solicitor, which can be difficult, and submit a complaint to the commission, she said. People and entities who continue to solicit homeowners after they say they don't want to sell face fines up to $2,000 in loss of their license. So what they're saying here, is that when somebody's being called, what they should do is they should try to get their information. And then once they get their information of who's soliciting to them, after they told him, don't solicit to me, then what they should do is give that information to the commission. When they get that information to the commission, then the commission will start the investigation. It says when you have neighborhoods that are rapidly gentrifying, you have homeowners that are sitting on their greatest asset, which in some sense is a gold mine, he said. And I agree with that. You have a lot. A gold mine might be pushing it. It might be, it may be pushing it, but they are sitting on some wealth. All right. It says people who are offering below market prices for residents' homes are potentially, Okay. Where am I at? People who are offering below market prices for residents' homes are kind of ciphering their wealth that should be transferred to the next generation, she said. And for Black and brown homeowners, that just broadens the already significant racial wealth gap. So, all right. So, what she said? What she's saying here is that if you have a home, maybe the market value is $100,000. So if this homeowner gave this property to a realtor to sell, he would sell it. The market value is $100,000, but they don't know that. So that's all they know, is that they have this blighted property that is run down and nobody can live in it. So when they look at the property, they're thinking, man, this property ain't worth nothing. So when a wholesaler comes and a wholesaler says, hey, I'll give you $40,000 for this property, they may need $40,000. So they might be like, excuse me, they might be like, yes, $40,000. Let me get that. So the wholesaler will get the property under contract for $40,000. They'll go to their list and they'll sell it for $50,000. So the wholesaler will take $10,000 and give the other $40,000 to the homeowner. But that home was worth $100,000. So if they would have gave it to a realtor, the realtor would have sold it for $100,000. Now, if there's commissions that have to deal with it, so maybe if they gave it to a realtor, they would have got $90,000. They would have sold it for $100,000. But let's just say I'm just using super easy math. Okay, it's probably more like they would get $95,000. But anyway, they would get the bulk of that versus with the wholesaler. Okay. It says King Sessing, Cobbs Creek, Kensington, Sharswood, and areas around Temple University's campus are among the neighborhoods wholesalers target, city officials and advocates say. Now, Tracy Lewis, what we was talking about earlier, Lewis, the Southwest Philadelphia homeowner, hasn't yet gotten relief from the barrage of messages, but she hopes the list can stem the tide for her and her city employees, postal workers, hairdressers, elderly residents, and other in her community. So what she says is, let homeowners decide whether they want to sell their homes or not. Okay? Don't try to intimidate us. And what she means by intimidation probably is they're probably calling and they're harassing her. And yeah, I mean, if this was my aunt or my grandmother, and that's how we got to think about it. If this is my aunt or grandmother, would I want somebody calling them? I have a grandfather who's very elderly, and I would hate for somebody to call him over and over and over and send him messages. And so the city is trying to give people relief from that. Do I think it's going to stop? No, because you got to get the person's information, and that's going to be hard. So people can kind of hide behind LLCs. I'm from 123 LLC. So when you go and look at that LLC, then there's no name and there's no address. That's one of the reasons why Philadelphia came down on Airbnbs in Philadelphia. They came down with the new regulation that just started in April. Well, now today's April 1st, but they started the new regulation where there has to be a contact. I think it's a contact number on the LLC filing, because what was happening, not to digress too much, but what was happening was people were having parties, the cops were being called, and when the cops looked to, okay, who gets this ticket, they would look in the Airbnb, see it was owned by LLC. When they went to LLC, there was no contact information. So that's what they're going to find here. So the article continues. Since the summer of 2018, Community Legal Service of Philadelphia, the legal aid nonprofit, has seen an uptick in clients pressured by wholesalers to sign documents selling their homes for less than the property's worth. All right. So this is what this managing attorney in the home ownership in the community legal services said. This guy said homeowners risk losing their home at a stroke of a pen. He said it's terrible. It's predatorial because you have long-time homeowners who don't realize the value of their home walking away from tens of thousands of dollars, right? Because they should use, hold on one second, because they should use a realtor. And this is what they should be pushing. This is what they should be pushing. If you're going to sell your home, contact a realtor. Because how do these wholesalers do? What these wholesalers do is when they go in there, they'll say, oh, you don't have to pay a commission. But it's really like moving sand in a sandbox. Anyway, without digressing into that, because I kind of went through that before, they need to contact a realtor. It says, so in here, it says, you have a lot of neighborhoods that already feel under attack. And now they have these wholesalers swooping in, trying to make a quick buck by trying to get them to sell their homes for less than they're worth. All right, that's the end of the article. So what I got to say about this, what I got to say is that if a person, I can't tell a person not to sell their home. I cannot tell a person not to sell their home. But what I will tell them is that if you want to sell your home for the most money possible, get a realtor. Get a realtor. If you want to sell your home for the most money possible, get a realtor. If you sell it to a wholesaler, yeah, it's going to be fast. Yes, it's going to be painless, but it's going to be for undervalue. Why? Because you're selling to an investor. And if you sell it to an investor, 9 times out of 10 is 70 cents on a dollar. Okay? All right, y'all. This is Colin Nathan Alim. If you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, or invest in real estate, I got you. We have a bunch of awesome programs. If you want to reach out to me, you can go to www.khalidnathanalim.com. If you want to contact me, 267, what's my phone number here? What's my office phone number? 267 930-1249, because I don't contact myself. 267-930-1249. And also, if you're looking to buy a house, but you need credit repair, I have a home buying program to get you into a house and also to improve your credit. You can go to my website at www.alimfinancialservices. That's with an S. Okay? www.alimfinancialservices.com. All right, y'all. This is Khalid Nathan Alim, the real estate boy. I'm out. Take care, y'all.